Australia's premier chess event, the Australian Open, recently commenced in Sydney. Top seeds in the tournament are Ni Hua, Murtas Kazgaleev, Zong-Yuan Zhao, David Smerdon, Vasily Papin, Max Illingworth and Rustam Kusnudinov. Super GM Ni Hua has raced to an early lead with 6 out of 6, winning many of his games very quickly. I spoke with him early on in the tournament. I'm here with Super Grandmaster Ni Hua from China, playing in the Australian Open in Sydney. Welcome to Australia.
Nice to see you.
This is your first visit to Australia, is that right?
Yes, this is my first time to Australia.
Great. We're very lucky to have you here.
I always want to visit Australia, but I didn't have any chance. Like this time, I have free time,
so it's good timing. Maybe there's a chance we'll see you in Australia again. I hope that's the case.
Yes, I hope so.
And I noticed with some of your earlier games, you won very quickly. Perhaps some opening preparation secrets, or just your opponents made some mistakes?
Yeah, I think I just played normal chess.
Yeah.
Opponent today he played very fast. Made some mistake. Sometimes it happens, so it's normal.
Okay. And do you have some expectations of what score you will get in this tournament?
Okay. I just try to do my best. Too much.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the development of chess in China. China has now become a superpower at chess.
I think in China chess is more famous than before, especially in these 10 years.
So it's become very popular.
Popular, yes, because many kids they are studying chess.
Yes.
Yes, so we have many people know chess and they like it.
All right, well, good luck for the rest of the tournament. We'll show maybe one or two of your games in the video, and hopefully we can speak more soon. Sure. Ni Hua from China. In round 1, Ni Hua demonstrated his winning style against local Sydney player Kinto-Wan. The game began as a Caro-Kann with 1 e4, c6, d4, d5, e5, the sharp advanced variation, bishop f5, h4. This line has become increasingly popular recently and prevents black's natural reply e6, because then g4 would trap the bishop on f5. h6. h5 is the most popular reply, preventing white from advancing his h-pawn any further. g4. Bishop e4, provoking f3 to prevent white from developing his knight there. But bishop d7 is safer, and Ni Hua himself has played that position with the black pieces as well. f3, bishop h7, and now e6. White plays a thematic pawn sacrifice. F takes e6. Possibly better is Queen d6, threatening Queen g3 check and f takes e6. Now, after e takes f7, king takes f7, bishop d3, and white has a small plus. But going back to the game, after f takes e6, bishop d3, and now black goes astray with g6. Now both of black's bishops look bad. Ni Hua had recently played a game which continued bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, queen d6, f4, knight d7, knight f3, castles queenside, knight e5, knight takes e5, and f takes e5. And white has a pleasant plus. He controls the e5 square, and black will struggle to develop his kingside. Returning to the game, after g6, white continued g5, and now Kinto-Wan played h takes g5. Black probably had to play h5, but after f4, white maintains his control of e5 and the blockade of the black king side. Returning to h takes g5. H takes g5 by white, and now because of the pin along the h file, white threatens to play bishop takes g6. But after black finally develops his dark squared bishop with bishop g7, the tactics all work out in favour for white, and Ni Hua wins a piece with rook takes h7, rook takes h7, bishop takes g6 check, king d7, bishop takes h7, and after queen c7, f4 stopping black's final threat of queen h2 with a double attack, black resigns. At the halfway mark, Australian IM James Morris is the highest placed Australian player with 5 out of 6, and he is set to play Ni Hua in round 7. I spoke with James earlier about his chances of a GM norm and got him to show us his round 6 win against IM Richard Jones from Wales. James, welcome to the tournament. You've just had a draw with Vasily Papin, so off to a good start in the competition?
Yeah, can't complain. Beat the people I was supposed to, and 2 draws against Zong-Yuan Zhao and Papin.
Yeah.
Probably should have beaten Zhao, but I mean, time travel is hard to deal with sometimes. So
Okay.
things happen. At least I didn't lose. So 3 out of 4 is a good start.
A very good start. Obviously, your aim for the tournament would be to try and make the Grandmaster norm. Do you think you're on track to get the GM norm?
Yeah, I'd say I'm on track. I probably need to beat a GM, but we've got time. Yeah, again, if I win the next round, I really think I'm on. Regardless of opponent, I think 4 out of 5 is a fantastic start. So
Terrific. I understand you're also an accomplished poker player. Do you enjoy playing in the poker circuit, or do you find that you're always drawn back to chess?
I wouldn't say accomplished. I play it more for fun.
Okay.
I know bits and pieces, but I'm not a professional. I just play for fun. So that's just what I do. Just something to, that's not chess.
Okay. And you live in Melbourne. You study at university. What's the course that you do at university?
Sports journalism.
Okay.
At La Trobe.
All right. Well, good luck for your hunt for the Grandmaster norm, and I hope you have a very successful rest of the tournament. International Master James Morris. I'm with James Morris, who's just had a very nice win against Richard Jones. Take us through the final moves of the game, if you can.
All right. Well, here
Oops.
I decided to do something a bit radical.
Yep.
And I sacrificed my queen, or gave him the opportunity. So, knight d5 looks like it loses, but there's a little trick behind it. So, he could just play rook f7 here, but instead he decided, well, a queen's a queen, so he went and played knight f3 check. King f1 runs into queen h3 mate, so the only move is queen takes f3.
Right, and so this is where he's winning your queen for rook and knight?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also has a pawn for it, which is not going to last very long. So queen takes f3 and rook takes e7.
Check.
So on the surface it looked pretty tempting for black. But
Yeah, material looks good for him, yeah?
But now the king is running out of squares. If it stays on if it goes back to f8, g8 or h8, it runs into a lot of problems on the back rank. So a rook lift, rook d4, rook h4 or something like that will leave this king on the back rank very exposed.
So maybe just quickly run through one possible line there.
Okay, so for example, if king g8, rook d4 with the threat of rook e3. So let's say he plays a blank move, and then rook e3 is the threat.
Yeah.
And wherever the queen goes, it
maybe
gets
queen f5.
Queen f5. Well, I got an answer for that.
Oh, then there's
knight
knight
e7.
Yep.
And if he goes queen h5, I got an answer for that too. Knight takes f6.
Okay, so he's running out of queen squares. You're actually threatening to trap the queen
in that variation.
So after rook d4, what if he tries something to?
Well, he can play c5, but after rook f4, might be check, king g2, f5 is probably the only move, and then just knight f6 check.
And now he's got troubles on the back rank with his king.
And his king can't move, and he's running into a lot of problems. So
okay, so back after rook takes e7, he played king h6.
Yep. So king h6 is trying to run for a bit of safety. So we play rook d4.
So you're now threatening to come across with rook h4 check.
Yeah, and
just winning. Yeah.
mate won't be far away.
Okay.
So g5 is forced.
To stop that. Yep.
Knight takes c7. Pawn's a pawn.
Fair enough.
Grab a pawn of tempi. Here, pawn's a pawn again. And now the computer suggests queen f5 with a lot of variations as to is probably the best defense for black. But
he moved.
for the sake of this video, we're not going to go into some 20 move variations, so we might. So he basically plays king g6, which is a little bit of a mistake, and after rook e3, queen f5, knight d5, he's got real problems with this f pawn. So if he plays rook f7 now,
Yeah.
there's a knight e7 check, and I pick up the rook for the knight, and I've got plenty.
Yeah. Okay.
The two rooks and the pawn will dominate the queen in this position. So
Okay. So
queen b1 check,
queen b1 check.
king g2, and the pawn is doomed. So if rook f7 now, just rook f3, and that pawn is still doomed.
Right. So he decides to try and capture the a2 pawn instead.
Yeah. So he just jettisons the thing, and then knight takes f6, threatening a lot of discoveries.
That king's looking pretty exposed now.
It's not having a fun time. So queen a3, rook takes b6,
Yep.
queen c5 is not possible because of knight d7 check, defending the rook and attacking the queen
Okay.
all at the same time,
Yep.
which is pretty nice.
All right. Discover check. Yeah.
But instead he plays a4, which I'm glad he did because it allowed me to execute a really nice finish to the game and make this game just a little bit sweeter. So now the winning move is knight h5.
Yeah, now remember, a few people came over to your board around this point, and a very interesting finish to the game
Yeah,
here.
it was a nice move to make.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's one of those moves that if you get wrong, you get horribly wrong.
But I imagine you felt very pleased with yourself when you found this line.
I was pretty sure that we had this one. So king takes h5 is forced. If he instead plays king f7,
Right.
he's going to get mated. Rook f6 check, king g8, and then rook e8
check.
with
It's
mate.
mate. Yep.
King f5 will run into a very similar mate. So rook f6 check again, king g4, h3. Now he has to take the knight.
Yep.
g4, king h4, and rook h6, which is pretty
That's
thematic.
mate. Fantastic.
So he takes the knight straight away. And now the point h3, the subtle little move.
Well, you're setting up the similar mate there.
Setting up
yes.
g4.
G4 check and rook h6 mate.
Yeah.
So,
g4 impossible because of rook e5, which is mate.
uh-huh.
So that's an important point.
So he needs to cover the h6 square because he can't stop g4.
Yeah, and there's only one way of doing that, and that's queen f8.
Uh-huh.
So that's what he played.
Yep.
g4, king h4, and now the nice move, rook e8.
So you're trying to deflect the queen from the defensive h6. So
Yeah.
after...
So he has to keep defending h6 somehow,
Yep.
otherwise it's going to be mate on h6.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays queen g7,
Yep.
but I really, really want him to get away from that square, so I play rook g8.
So that's nice. So now the rook's attacking both g7 and the f8 square, so he's got to move his queen away from the defensive h6.
Yeah, and
he has to do it with check or some sort of tempo.
Exactly, and he needs to try and get rid of this rook because it's killing him. So he does that. He does
Queen-
all three. He
queen b7
moves
check.
the queen, checks me, and gets rid of the rook. But it costs him a queen. So rook takes b7, rook takes back, and now just b6.
So now you've got not only your material back, but you're actually 3 pawns up.
3 pawns up and a rook ending, and his king's still in a mating net. It's not a bad spot to be in. He tried h5 for one last tactic. If I play rook h8 a little prematurely, doesn't change the result too much, but he does have rook h7, which is a cute little stalemate
And
attempt.
you can't play rook
And
takes.
you can't take it.
because it's
So
stalemate.
you have to move the rook now, and he gets the pawn back. So we have to be a little bit careful.
Uh-huh.
But it's not the end of the world anyway. But instead I'll just play rook d8. And in this position he resigned in view of something simple like this. Rook h7, rook d4. He has to take now, and then rook takes, king there, and just c5. And the rook will go behind the c-pawn, and I'll just win.
You've got 2 pass pawns
Too many
rushing
pawns.
through.
Like,
Yeah.
too many pawns to handle.
Nice
So,
win. Very
It
good.
was, I like the win. There could be a defense somewhere for black. The computer will probably find something, but I imagine over the board it's pretty painful to
Yeah, it did look very difficult to defend. So, yes, very pleasing win for you there.
Yeah.
And you're now on 5 out of 6, but doing very well in the tournament.
Yeah, and it looks like I probably have Ni Hua, the top seed of black. which is
Wow.
going to be a pretty tough assignment. We'll see what we can do. I mean, you never know.
Well, good luck for tomorrow and for the next round.
The next round, yeah.
And for the remainder of the tournament.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
I am James Morris. The two other top Australian players in the tournament are Grandmasters Zong-Yuan Zhao and David Smerdon. Hi, I'm with Grandmaster Zong-Yuan Zhao, Australia's highest rated Grandmaster, playing in the Australian Open in Sydney. Zong-Yuan, good to see you playing in the tournament. We haven't seen you play here for a while. You're very busy with your career, so we're very fortunate to have you here.
Well, it's a big pleasure because nowadays playing chess is like some time off studies and work. So
Okay, I understand you played recently for the Chinese League, some games over there.
yes.
How do you find juggling that, flying over to China?
That was quite fun. I mean, Chinese leagues, I have lots of good friends over there, and I've been playing the same team for many, many years. So I really enjoy that. And it's half social, half chess, but obviously it's good to, before coming to such a big tournament like the Australian Open, to get a bit of practice.
Sure. Fantastic. And how do you feel your games have gone so far?
It's been a bit wild. I've had quite a few wild games. I mean,
You had a crazy position against Luke Lee from New Zealand just then.
I think objectively I was always doing well, but yesterday's game against James Morris, of course, I was completely busted at one point. So I was pretty lucky to get through that. But sometimes you need a bit of luck, and that's the way things are. But I'm starting to feel I'm gearing up a little bit. So.
Okay, so you're working your way back into form?
Well, I'm just trying to brush away the cobwebs and sort of remember how the pieces move, but I'm certainly getting there.
Sure.
Maybe it's the same with me. I'm doing but we're having a lot of fun together. In fact, last night we spent X number of hours analysing what to most people probably is an incredibly dull rooking game. But it really got us going. We're really fired up, and we were even joking that hopefully we'll get this particular rooking game on both boards.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be quite funny. But
You're in Sydney though, is that correct? Sydney based?
Yes.
Okay. That would mean that you'd at least have the opportunity to play regular club chess.
Club chess in most other countries means sort of paid, and you sort of play very strong opponents and so on and so forth. So possibly, I mean, I always have a dream that will be
club chess is more social.
Yeah,
so.
right. I mean, you just play for a tournament, weekend tournament, or whatever.
So you'd like to play in a professional league somewhere?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think every single chess player. I think even like guys like Carlsen and Vichy at some point have played for.
Yeah. Well, good luck for the tournament. I hope you do very well, and good luck with your medical career. Grandmaster Zong-Yuan Zhao. I'm with Australian Grandmaster David Smerdon, playing in the Australian Open here in Sydney. Welcome to the tournament.
Thanks.
Great to see you playing back in Australia. You're based in Amsterdam now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I left Australia a couple of years ago to keep my studies going, so I'm doing a PhD over there.
Okay.
And it's a bit different living in Europe to living in Australia. I miss a lot of things about being back home.
Sure.
But the best thing for me is the chess over there. The chess is fantastic. The great club scene, great league scene, tournaments all over the place, and in Amsterdam, I think when you came to visit me, there's a couple of bars and cafes there where you can play, and that's one of the best things for me, the culture of chess over there.
Yeah, so obviously that's giving you a lot of opportunities to play more tournaments. Do you feel that that's given you a chance to improve your form?
It's improved some parts of my chess. Definitely there's a difference between Australian club players and European club players.
Okay.
They seem to have a better understanding of the latest theory because, I mean, you can buy chess magazines in the train stations there, so it's a bigger thing, it's on television. So my theories had to improve and my technical knowledge has had to improve. But overall with my studies, my strength probably hasn't increased too much.
So obviously juggling study and doing the chess has been difficult.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your studies. What are you doing the PhD in?
It's in economics.
Okay.
It's in a branch called behavioural economics, which is a bit of psychology as well.
Okay.
And the institute in Amsterdam is one of the best in the world, so that's the reason I shipped myself over there. So it's keeping me busy, that's for sure.
You played for the Australian team in the Olympiad, and I think it was the youngest team of Australian players ever.
Yeah.
How did it feel to be the old guy amongst such a young team?
Yeah, it was a bit strange. I mean, Zong-Yuan Zhao and myself, we were sort of always penned as the two young juniors in the team, and I've been the youngest member of the team a couple of times, so this was a very strange experience, particularly with that little 13-year-old wonder boy as well.
And John Smerdon.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, the guys, they gelled together very well. The team spirit was the best of any Olympiad I've been to. They brought a lot of youth and energy to the team, and that meant that we could train together, we could play sports together and go for walks together. So I think these guys will be in the team for a couple of years to come, and hopefully I can sort of hang on for a bit myself.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Now, about this tournament, how do you feel that the tournament's going for you so far, and have there been any outstanding games for you so far?
For me, it hasn't been so great.
Okay.
I'm on 3 out of 4. I just had a draw with Chris Wallace, a very talented guy, and then yesterday I had a draw with Darryl Johansson, who I used to play all the time when I was a kid. Now it's been a while, and I'm actually the favourite when I play him now, which is strange.
I suppose you still have a lot of respect for him,
Yeah.
and you were teammates in the Olympiad a number of times.
That's right, yeah. And he's the sort of guy I go to when I have questions about some strategic openings as well. His knowledge is still far above mine. So it's been like a solid 3 out of 4, I'd say.
Okay.
But everyone sort of knows in these tournaments that it's the last 3 rounds where you sort of separate the big guys. So I'm sort of just trying to keep myself in the race, and then
conserving your energy for those final rounds.
And then I'll go for it. You'll see some crazy chess happening in the last 3 rounds.
Well, we're looking forward to that.
Cheers.
Now, one young lady said to me that you're a much loved grandmaster. How does it feel to be such a popular grandmaster?
Well, it's difficult to respond to, I guess. But it's actually been quite a few years since I've played a tournament in Australia.
Okay.
I used to play all the Grand Prix tournaments, zone all the Aussie champs. I used to be all over the place.
Yeah.
But I've been away so long they've taken me off the ACF rating list.
They've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
What's that about?
And when I actually walked into the tournament hall, some of my friends, chess acquaintances, didn't recognise me after 3 years. I guess I've lost a lot of hair on top. That might be the reason. But it's really good to be back. I really miss Australia and the club scene, and the chess scene, and all the friends and the joviality of these sort of tournaments. So it's good to be here.
Well, it's so good to have you playing back in Australia. Good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks
and we're really pleased that you're here. Grandmaster David Smerdon. The tournament leader after 6 rounds is Grandmaster Ni Hua with 6 out of 6. Behind him, on 5 points, Grandmaster Rustam Kuznutdinov and International Master James Morris, and a large group of players behind them on 4.5. As mentioned earlier, James Morris will play Ni Hua in round 7. Today was a rest day, with many of the players competing in the Australian Open Lightning Championship. That event was won by International Master Moulton Lai after winning a tie-break match against James Morris and Bobby Cheng.